Okay, so I've chosen to talk about the topic binge watching, the phenomenon that is binge watching, um, as a topic that I chose because, well, I kind of thought about uh, what my interests were, but I don't really have any like huge interests at the moment. And then I thought about, okay, so just something that I know a lot about, but I'm not the kind of person who knows a lot about a specific thing. I kind of know a little about a lot of different things. Um, So I just thought, what have I been spending some time doing lately? Um, and I've just had COVID, which of course meant I was in isolation for a week. And during that week, I spent a lot of time watching Netflix because obviously I couldn't go outside. So I watched a lot of Netflix. I actually ended up watching, I think, five different series. I finishing the five different series in a week, which is quite impressive, if I have to say so myself. Uh, but yeah, that's why I've chosen binge watching as my topic. And I'm going to start by defining what the term binge watching actually means. It's of course a compound word consisting of two different words, binge and watching. Uh, so watching, of course, refers to watching like movies or a series, TV show. Uh, and binge is kind of we had about drinking, we had about binge drinking, which meant to drink a lot of alcohol in like the same session or in a short amount of time. And it's kind of the same, but just by with watching, of course. So it's kind of like watching a lot of a lot of episodes of the same series, and watching uh, a couple of movies from the same movie series, right? Like Harry Potter. Something that I thought was interesting was actually when it was considered to be binge watching, and when it was just like watching a series casually on Netflix. Um, uh, because if it was considered to be just finishing the series would be binge watching, then it would be kind of like unfair almost, if that's the right word, but unfair in the sense that you could watch like an entire series that consists of eight episodes, and you can watch 7 seasons of Friends, and you wouldn't have binge watched that, but you would have binge watched the first one. Uh, so I kind of looked into it and researched it a bit, and it turns out there isn't really like a definitive definition for the word, because of course it's just like a term that we use sometimes and not really a big one out there. But it's widely considered to be when you watch more than 2 to 6 episodes of the same show or series in a row. Of course, depending on the length of the episodes. If it's like you watch The Flash, which would have like 40 to 50-minute episodes, it would probably not be 6 episodes you have to watch. It would probably be like 3 or 4 or something. Watching How I Met Your Mother or something like that, where it's like 20, 25 minutes, it would probably be like the 5, 6 episodes you have to watch. And I think that Netflix do, which is also what the picture is about here. The picture is here, and I actually think a lot of the streaming devices do it now. Is they have this kind of like when you watch a lot of the same series in a row and you haven't really pressed any buttons on the remote, it asks if you're still watching, which some people find pretty provoking because it's kind of like, oh, you're still watching Netflix, you really don't have anything else to do. But it's a good feature because it's meant for if you like fall asleep during a series, and it just doesn't just go on with the series and kind of pauses, so you don't watch half the series without actually watching it. Yeah. So the history of binge watching. Binge watching isn't actually a like totally new phenomenon. It's not very old, but it's not very new either. It goes back to when we had videotapes before my time, where you could like record multiple episodes of the same series on the videotape, and then watch it and rewatch it as many times you want. But it's definitely developed a lot this past few years. In 2015, it was actually declared the word of the year by one of the dictionaries. Of course, that means that it's a word that's been used a lot in that year, and it has like an impact on people that year. I mean, it was big that year. Of course, now we have all these streaming devices, which make it much easier to binge watch because it's much more accessible. All the series are like gathered in the same place, all the episodes are gathered in the same place. So you don't have to sit on TV, for example, and just wait for the CNN to show a marathon or something. You can also just now you can just go on Netflix and choose a series to watch and then watch it in your own speed. So here are some examples of series and movies that you could binge watch. Personally, I like binge watching sitcoms, which would be the top row here, because the episodes are usually like quite a bit shorter, but they have like the same amount of action. I don't know if action is the right way. It's not like of course they aren't like killing each other and stuff, but it's kind of like the same amount of entertainment, just in a like more compact episode. Of course, if you watch like The Flash, it'd be a little long episode, so you could kind of feel stretched at some points because we have to fill in the next 5 minutes before something happens. But I enjoy watching the probably the top row here, the sitcoms. Also I have Harry Potter in here because I actually when I researched it didn't say anything about binge watching movies at all anywhere. But well, you can binge watch movies. There aren't really. Of course, I couldn't find anything like as the 2 to 6 episodes. I don't know if that also it goes for movies because they're much longer than a series episode. But yeah, you could binge watch movies as well, like Harry Potter series, like the Harry Potter series, or like the Lord of the Rings, or the Hobbit, or Star Wars. So here's like kind of what makes an episode binge watch worthy, as I've decided to call it. So as you can see, the graph is like kind of the action, the entertainment level of the series, and it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But like ultimately, it goes up, right? And that's kind of well, it's important in the series because if there weren't like any highs in the middle of the series, it probably would just be, oh, this is boring. If there weren't any lows at all, it would just be kind of weird because you kind of need the low points to have the high points, right? A lot of series end up in cliffhangers, which is like when they build up to something exciting, like just at the end of this episode, and then just as it's about to happen, they stop the episode and start it, and then you have to watch the next to find out what happens, because that's kind of smart because then you like have to watch the next episode, right? And then when you've seen the start and now you know what happens, but you don't usually just stop halfway through episode. You want to watch like to the end of the episode, right? So you kind of have to watch the entire episode now, and then a new cliffhanger, and the loop just keeps going, right? And also the thing that some series do is, and it's not all series do this, but a lot of sitcoms do this. They have these cold opens, which are like the intro to it's before like the intro with all names and stuff comes up. So it's before that they have like maybe like a minute of some joke that they thought about that they didn't really fit. They couldn't fit it into what the series was about, or what the episode was about, but they thought it was quite good, so they wanted to leave it in as well. So it's kind of like in the start, doesn't really relate to the rest of the episode in any way, but it makes the start like much more fun for the person who watched it. And then if it's like the first episode they watch, they kind of, oh yeah, that's funny, haha. And then they go on to like the action, and it helps to maintain viewers because they kind of always in the start of the episode get something that's like funny or interesting in some other way than the rest of the episode might be. Yeah, that was my presentation.